Welcome, everybody, to the Seattle Sports Union podcast. My name is Abraham DeWeese. We're back again with the Soul Man, Brian Solak, and on the boards is Matthew, that damn dirty duck page. But today we have a very special guest, an Everett AquaSox legend, Pat Dillon. How you doing, Pat?
Great, you guys. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you coming on as always. Tonight is going to be a special night, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit because Everett AquaSox just celebrated their 30 years this past season. But I want to start with you guys winning the championship. I mean, tell me what it was like for you to be a part of that.
It was really special. We knew we had a very interesting and talented group, and from the leadership standpoint and the talent evaluation standpoint, the ball club knew that it was loaded coming into the season. So we were excited to see some of the guys come back, and it didn't start off very well. The club started off 8-16 in the first half, and then went on a roll, and then won the first half on a tiebreaker with Vancouver, thanks to a doubleheader sweep of the Canadians at their place. And then, once you know, the AquaSox began the second half 8-16 also, and things didn't go so great in the second half. But got some reinforcements in the playoffs, and really played and pitched so very well, and beat the team, these Emeralds, which were far and away the best offensive team in the Northwest League last year, and the heavy favorites to win the championship. But that's why they play these series.
Yeah, that was really cool to be a part of. I mean, the last 6 months of this year in general, I mean, I'm going to expand on that with the AquaSox and what they did. Watch the Bellingham Bells win the championship against Portland online. That was pretty cool. Then you had the Mariners almost make it to the World Series, and now we got the Super Bowl this Sunday. Things are going pretty good here in the state of Washington.
But they sure are. How you guys feeling about the Super Bowl?
I think it's going to be a blowout win. Personally, I was thinking like 29-13.
I have a lot more respect for our opponents than Brian, the Soul Man Solak. I think it's going to be much closer, but I still think it's a Seahawk win.
Yeah, I do too. Abraham, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be easy, but I think I said this before the Rams game to some friends, and it wound up being true. If the Seahawks do not turn it over, they will win. I think that's going to happen this team. If they don't turn it over,
I agree with that. Abraham, do you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, it's a matter of the Seahawks play their game, but I mean, we've seen weird things with this team every once in a while, especially from our quarterback. So nothing is out of the question. And even though the Patriots have had like a really easy schedule, they still beat all the teams that were in front of them. Yeah, so you got to give them some credit there.
Sure.
Yeah, very good point. Real quick, back to the championship. That's the second championship that Everett has had over their 30 years, and that you were a part of. What was the difference between 2010 and 2025, in your opinion?
Well, 2010 was the first as a Seattle Mariners affiliate. As you know, the Everett Giants won a championship back in 1985. And just as a broadcaster, my first year, it was in the Giants organization back in 95 in Bellingham, and got all the way to the championship series and lost. I was with the AquaSox since 98 and got the championship series in 2002 and got swept. So there were some disappointments along the way. But yeah, that 2010 club was great. There was a lot of pitching on that team. And left-hander Anthony Fernandez was probably the best pitcher. And he came out big in the postseason. But the thing about that 2010 club is they turned in a Northwest League leading stat ERA of 3.24, which was remarkable considering where they play our home games with the 30 feet to right center field. But a talented group of pitchers, and then former AquaSox pitcher and pitching coach Rich Dorman loved that staff, and it was a good team.
Right on. I remember that was a cold night when we won the championship, but we were sitting behind home plate. But yeah, that was a fun year too. Never forget that. Right on. How's your off season been going? What have you been up to?
It's good. Well, it's starting to get busy now. It's one of my do these during the off season is to take care of some of our corporate accounts. So far, all that's been going well, and we've got everything loaded in and set up promotions wise. And sometime before the season starts, maybe next month, we'll release our promotional calendar. But now there's stuff to do, and it's ramping up. It's getting real now, and every year now the long season format. Once we get past the Super Bowl, then it's the countdown is on. So, under 60 days or whatever it's going to be. So it'll be here before you know it.
That's exciting. I mean, I know my parents used to say when I was growing up, once you hit 21, every year is going to go by faster and faster. Time just flies by. And it just seems like this past season, I don't know what the reason might be, but it seems like baseball just ended and now it's right around the corner. And I wish every year was kind of like that.
Yeah, back in the short season A days, the season wasn't quite long enough. So it would be
True.
the third weekend in June to get started right around Father's Day. And then the season would end right around Labor Day. And then we have a week of playoffs. But, 76 games wasn't quite enough. And so now 132 games. Let me tell you, for everybody involved in minor league baseball, everybody with the AquaSox franchise, the players, the coaches, front office people, broadcasters, you name it. And 132 is that's getting after it. That's a commitment, and we're happy to make it.
Wow, that's a lot of games. That's cool though.
I do have a question about the follow-up. So what has it been like in your experience now doing April games? And some of those games have to be moved to daytime for scheduling conflicts. How's that adjustment been?
It hasn't really been an issue at all. We'll make we'll promote a midweek game as a business person special. In fact, go back and look at it, but I think our two biggest crowds in the first maybe 5 or 6 weeks of the season came on those types of days where we luckily had some good weather. It's when it's 45 degrees outside, you don't know what the weather's going to do with. That's the challenge for every team. That at least last year was not a big deal.
Right on. Our producer, Matthew Page, would like to know, are you allowed to share any sneak peeks on upcoming promotions?
Yeah, we're working on some stuff. Yeah, probably cannot tell you.
Okay.
You'll find out soon enough. We're going to have some cool stuff, I can tell you that.
Okay.
For some of it, we have to get approvals, and the Mariners on a couple of items have to get their blessing.
Fair enough. How about Bark in the Parks? Can you tell me there's
we'll have them for sure.
Okay.
Well, we last year, what did we have? 2.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the plan again.
Okay. It seems like a big hit.
Yeah.
Right on. You work with Steve Willits, the on-field MC. He does the games on radio too. And what's it like working with Steve Willits? I mean, the guy is amazing. I'm just going to say real quick, he's so outgoing and friendly, and it's just a pleasure, seeing him on opening day every year.
Steve's great. Steve's a good friend. He's just a terrific guy, and we're so lucky to have him. And Steve has a lot of energy, and he brings it to what he does on the field every night. And it's nice for him to have 2 or 3 series a year on the radio, and he really enjoys doing that for some select road broadcast. Great to have him. He is a very valuable teammate.
I love him. Great with the fans and great with the kids, especially. He's good people. Right on. I know you said things are going to be getting more busier and busier, but can you tell? I mean, every year you guys play the same teams, but does anything stand out to you looking at the schedule this year? I mean, is there going to be more home games in July compared to last year, or do you have a 3-week road trip you got to do? Or, just an example.
It's a schedule that is similar to last year. And
okay.
2 years ago, it was challenging because we only had 1 full homestand in August. And last year we had 3, and this year, I'm just looking at it right now, we'll have 3. So we'll have Vancouver, Spokane, and Eugene. So there's 18 games in the month of August this year. And the 3 weekends when the weather's going to be nice. And also we'll be home at the end of July. Eugene comes in right at the end of the month. So that's going to be big. Kids are out of school. Weather's going to be great. Sun is up on the horizon longer, and that's when we can make our bones that time of year from a market standpoint.
You mentioned Eugene. Is it next year that they're not going to play at the University of Oregon anymore? I feel like they have a stadium situation.
Yeah, I don't know specifically what their situation is. I believe that they have a player development contract with the San Francisco Giants that goes through the 2030 season. I don't know what their lease situation is at PK Park currently and how long that goes, but I know that they're actively looking for somewhere to get a new ballpark to be able to get into compliance with Major League Baseball. Unfortunately, that couldn't happen at another site in Eugene, and it cannot happen at PK Park. So once the season gets underway, once we go down there, we'll find out what's been going on. But I've been monitoring the situation, and I haven't heard any news about how they're doing.
So can you tell us a little bit more about the stadium situation up here in Everett? I mean, is it at a stalemate right now? I can't think of the word I'm trying to say. Or do you see any progress from your side?
I think like our general manager Danny Tetzloff and everybody in our front office. I think Danny purposely does. He knows about some stuff, but he doesn't want to be involved in the process, and that's at the ownership level. I just personally thought that he might have heard something at the end of last year, or certainly in the month of January. That hasn't happened yet. But it seems like we are far enough down the road that I believe the stadium is going to happen now, whether it be opening day 2027 or 2028. I don't know. We just can speculate right now, but hopefully we'll hear something definitive and take another step forward on this process before the season starts.
So we can, I was going to say, so we can be optimistic, but be cautiously optimistic then?
Yeah, I mean, I this is just my personal opinion. I think it's going to happen. Eric Cassie Franklin was on our field during the season, and we had an announcement saying we're going to have a brand new ballpark in Everett, and I believe I believe
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Will we see Pat Dillon in the broadcast booth when we get the new stadium?
Yeah. I'm not going anywhere. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been around this long. I do a ballpark, and then I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
Good. That's what we want to hear, but we had to make sure. Moving on, we celebrated 30 years, and I threw out some ideas at you and about, AquaSox moments for players over the years, and you came up with some great ideas. Let's just get started on that. I mean, I believe you came up with the most impactful players over your time.
Yeah, and I spent a little bit of time thinking about this. So I had kind of a top 10 in no particular order.
Okay.
And then some other thoughts on people in the Branders organization. But I can start right now. You ready?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, first, Chris Snelling, the Aussie who was the AquaSox center fielder in 1999, just a terrific all-around player, and he was just 17 years old when he played in 1999, and he was much younger than some of the competition he was playing against. He's also the only player in franchise history to hit with a cycle. That was in 1999.
Okay.
It's just a great character, fun to be around. Unfortunately, injuries derailed his major league career, but Chris Snelling has definitely made an impact. Another player that was fun to watch, Gregory Holland. I've always called him Gregory. The first time I met him, and it was early in the 2007 season, I had on the pregame show. And, welcome back to the pregame show, visiting with Greg Holland, and he touched my arm, and he said, no, it's Gregory. And his mother, Holland Gregory, and so for the rest of the season, I called him Gregory. Got to big leagues, we're calling Greg again. Big athlete, 5-tool guy, turned in one of the best overall seasons in franchise history in 2007 with an OPS near 1,000.
Wow. Okay.
He was fantastic. And we're talking about the short season A Northwest League, but still.
I understood.
And then you guys might have been following the franchise long enough to remember Jamal Strong.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Co-MVP in 2000. The thing I remember about that year is he missed one game all season. So he was in the leadoff spot and played center field in 74 of the 76 games. He got a kind of a half a day off to be a DH and leadoff, and he had 1 day off the entire season. He also set the franchise record with 60 stolen bases, and I don't think we will ever see that again. Even with 132 games, I don't see anybody stealing 60 bases. But he did it in a 76 game season, which is truly
Crazy.
remarkable.
Yes.
One of the best pitchers the AquaSox ever had, left-hander on the 2002 team that went the postseason, Troy Tate. He, in 2002, logged 85 and a third innings. He had an ERA right at 2, and he had a whip of below 1. And he was famous for pitching a complete game shutout against the Emeralds in our place to clinch the North Division title in 2002. And as you know, complete games are quite rare at any level in the minor leagues. Yeah, so I think the last one the AquaSox had was back in 2009. Anyway, he did it. 10 strikeouts, 2 hits, complete game shutout to clinch the division, and he did it in an hour and 59 minutes.
Oh, impressive.
So that's 4, 6 more to go.
Okay.
Cal Raleigh was with the Frogs in 2018, and that year, as the higher drafted college guys went, he signed late and then got to us in the second half. And as it turned out, and you may have heard this story, former AquaSox manager Rod Newmau, who was the scout in charge of the Southeast region, he still is, he was instrumental in signing Cal. Knew the family, knew that Cal, I think he had some injury stuff going on, and B had gone down some draft boards, and Rod said, look, this guy's got power. He's a very good prospect, and because of Rod, the Mariners took him in the 3rd round that year. The thing about Cal is, though, once he was on the team, he went on the road, and we were at Salem Kaiser, and in his 8th minor league game, he hit his first 2 home runs at Volcano Stadium, but he hit home runs from each side of the plate. And the next day, of course, I had another pregame show, or he said he had not. And of course, he's done it multiple times since then. At the time, we knew Cal was good, and he had a very good chance of moving up in the minor leagues, but to think that he would ascend to where he is now. It's the stuff that dreams are made of. But Cal Raleigh, AquaSox back in 2018, probably the most significant player that we ever had was a pitcher, Felix, and he was kind of like Chris Snelling, where 17 years old, first time he'd ever pitched anywhere stateside, and he was pitching against college hitters who were 22, 23, 24 years old. And not only was he successful, he dominated. Not hard to dominate short season hitters when he were 97 with a big jackhammer curveball. He could throw strikes. He had good command. He competed. It was obvious to everybody, barring injury, that Felix was going to be a very soon. And in fact, he got the big leagues less than 2 years after he was with us. Then in 2005, it was not a thing. So Felix is on there. That's 6. Julio Rodriguez, boy, it was a lot of fun to watch him for a few months in 2021. That was, I guess we could call that we were still kind of in COVID, and they didn't allow, I couldn't go down on the field. We couldn't go in the clubhouse. And so we didn't have a chance to meet these guys. I do my weekly interview with manager Louis Boyd on Zoom. And then by the time all the guys had moved out on a 2021 team. Then I had a chance to interview people, but boy, it was great. He had a guy written down here. He had a 991 OPS in 28 games before he got moved out to Double A. And then, of course, the next year was in the big leagues. Once rookie of the year. So Julio's on there. George Kirby. So George spent parts of 2 seasons with the Frogs. He was a member of the last AquaSox club to compete at the short season A level 2019. And that year, he logged 23 innings with a 2.35 ERA, faced 89 batters without issuing a walk.
My.
And this was funny. So
Wow.
that year, people were talking about, like, George hasn't walked in. Aaron Goldsmith, he gets me up every once in a while if he has a question. And he was just fascinated that he did not walk anybody. And so he wanted to know how many 3-ball counts George Kirby went to in 2019. He had six of the 89 hitters. Now, he didn't walk anybody. 6 of the 89 hitters, he went to 3-ball counts on him. So
Wow.
He was something else. And then he was solid on that 2021 club. And that 2021 club was as loaded, or maybe even more so, than the 2025 club. But George went back. He was the same. He had the same level of success, new version of the Northwest League. He got the Double A. I have Brian Wu and Bryce Miller kind of sharing the number 9 spot. They're
Nice.
both very similar in their development. Both were former college pitchers. Both had injuries. Both were members of the 2022 club, though I believe they missed each other. Brian Wu actually came up later after Bryce had moved up. But just wonderful to see those guys get to the big leagues and have the success they've had. I was looking this up too. So, I mean, one time the franchise history had the AquaSox had back-to-back MVPs. And you might remember the 2015 club that was wildly successful, had shortstop Drew Jackson. He won the MVP. And then next year, another terrific club, again, managed by Rob Munau, 2016, outfielder Eric Folia won the MVP. And both those guys, I believe, won the batting title. And then you go back to the 2012 club, which was very, very good. Like, that team started off the first half 27-11, managed by Rob Munau, and had Mike Zanino and also Chris Taylor, who were fantastic on that 2012 club. Actually, Taylor, I think that year, Taylor got moved up to Wisconsin at the end of the first half, and that was like maybe a week later, we got Zanino. And then
Okay.
Mike got moved up to Double A in August after a great series against Spokane. So that's 11. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the great managers that we've had over the years. We've had such good luck with managers. My first year in 1998 had Terry Polreese, 98 through 2001. He was a former head coach at the University of Portland. And then shortly after that, Pedro Grifol was our manager for 3 seasons, 03 through 05. Was Felix's first manager at 03, and he went on to become a manager of the Chicago White Sox. Good man, good baseball man. Jose Moreno had a couple of different stints with the AquaSox as a manager of the 2010 club, and then also came back later in the decade. And all he did was win with his clubs. With Boyd, lucky to have him for part of 2019 and all of 2021. And then, what can you say about just a top shelf, fine human being like Zach Dempsey? So nice to work with him last year. You just don't get any better than Zach. And very excited also to have Ryan Scott back that managed the club for his 3rd season. He is great. The Mariners just have figured out scouting and player development and leadership down to a science, and they hire only the best people. just the legacy of having fine managers makes my job a lot easier. It turns out with ball clubs. So that's it. So there's my list of 12.
That's a heck of a list. Seriously. The older I get, I can't seem to remember all players, but probably 6 of those I would have said, I thought you were going to say, and you did. And if you don't care, I'm going to add one to your list just because it's a favorite of mine. Victor Labrada, I think he's a heck of a, I mean, he can come off the bench for you in late inning pitch run or something. But he's one of the nicest guys, and I met his family too. And I see him as a coach maybe in the organization someday or somewhere, but I'm so happy for him. He's still with the organization.
I'd love to see him get the big leagues. Just, I mean, get there for a cup of coffee, whatever. And I call him Vic the Quick.
I didn't. Okay. I'll have to try to remember that.
And then I remember, so going into the 24 season in 2023, Victor was listed at, whatever the weight he was when they signed him, it was like, 165. So we began the season in 2024 down in Hillsborough. Victor, he put on some pound, and put on some good weight. He was wow. I mean, he was like 200 pounds. And so I found out that he was right at 200 pounds. So we kind of made a deal. I said, no, on the roster, we'll put you down at 195. And so, So every time he saw me, he'd point at me and he'd say,
looks like our producer's telling us Labrada's got a spring training with the Mariners opportunity.
Even better.
There you go. Yeah, good point. Very cool.
You brought up Felix Hernandez, and I don't remember ever seeing him, 20 years ago or whatever it was with the AquaSox, but I do remember in 2019 when he made that appearance. That might have been the craziest I've ever seen the AquaSox fans.
Well, we had, so he made 3 rehabs, I believe, with us.
Oh, okay.
The first one was in 2016, and that was a really big deal. That was the largest crowd in stadium history. It was on a Sunday against Spokane in July.
That might be the one I'm thinking of. Because Brian, you couldn't make that one, could you? Yeah, okay, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, there was almost 5,200.
Wow.
That's
that was fun.
But then he came back in 2019. I remember that one as well.
Right.
And there was a third one you said.
Right. Yes, there was, because I remember there was one, he came back. I'm just thinking, I have the visual of him wearing I think it was the Star Wars jersey. And then he came back and they were wearing the Rainbow Frogs jerseys. I think that was the last one.
So, man, did you miss all of them?
No, I saw second and third. I was there for those two. Yes, we got some good pictures too. So, yep. I got to ask Pat, what's it like being a father of a Washington State Cougar?
It's great. I got to tell you. Well, yeah, you guys know I'm a Husky, and just my background. I have never had any animosity for Washington State ever. In fact, just saying, I always kind of hope that the Cougs have success. I mean, Bob Robertson, rest his soul, a friend of mine, and we spent a lot of time together. And got a lot of friends who were Cougars, did the college search process, and went to Pullman, and then we went there with her and checked it out. It's for those who've never been there, and it's a special place. There is a vibe about Pullman that you can't describe, and I really feel very happy that she's there. She's in a Delta Gamma sorority.
Okay.
She just got accepted into the Carson School of Business, and
congrats.
She's running social media for her sorority. She's really good at that. So she's a business major. See where that takes her. But they call it now. It's family weekend. So I've been to a couple of family weekends. The one in the spring I miss because the season is underway. So Spokane started season last year, and my sister-in-law, who is also a Coug, she went to we'll go again when we're in Spokane this year.
Okay, right on. Very nice. Nice that you're able to go over there. And it is beautiful over there, even whether you're a Cougar or not. It gives me a chill every time I go over there, man. I really enjoy it. Beautiful. I do have, if you don't mind me asking, how do you balance this 132 game season and then family life? I mean, I've always wondered that, whether, broadcaster or athlete or whomever. How do you personally balance that, if you don't mind me asking?
Not at all. It's a lot for sure. And I have a very understanding family. They tolerate it. They enjoy that I do it. But it's different when I used to always tell people when the season was short season, it was 76 games, right to the point where they got tired of me being gone. That's when the season would end.
Oh, okay.
So now after that point, we got 50 games and 2 more months left in the season. Yeah, it's, there's a lot that goes into a broadcast, but it's like, anybody doing anything. You've got to manage your time and try to prepare quicker. And I have the sponsor satisfaction stuff that goes on as well. And I take care of that. So, but you know what? I don't really feel like it's a job. It's effort for sure,
Yeah.
but it's not like, going to the salt mine and punching the clock and doing something like that. We're in minor league baseball. We're very fortunate to do what we do.
Very true. Very true. Seattle Mariners announcer Rick Rizz recently announced this will be his last year. I'm guessing that you've encountered him over the years. Do you know Rick Rizz, or have you met him personally?
I've met Rick a couple of times. Yeah.
Okay. And were you able to get a few minutes of him, or what is your opinion of him, I guess, just as a fan?
And by all accounts, Rick is a wonderful man who is what he does in the community, who's voice for kids. There is now anybody in broadcasting that is more positive than Rick Rizz is, and he has a passion. He has a great sound. He's been around for so long. I've always enjoyed him. He's had a good run, 41 years or whatever it is, and 71 years old, and it's time to go do something else. I wish him the best. I hope someday he certainly paid his dues that someone will step up and start a campaign to get him into the fourth grade in the Hall of Fame. That would be great.
Awesome. I was going to ask you that, if you thought he was capable of getting there. I agree. He's done a lot for the community, for baseball. Just inspirational guy, man. He stepped it up after Dave Niehaus passed away too. That was hard.
Definitely.
He sure did. And he thing about Rick is he keeps Dave's legacy alive. He references Dave, talks about him, and Dave Niehaus, that one that's been fantastic broadcaster. But Rick's been great to the Seattle Mariners.
Definitely. I know we're getting closer to the end, but we have a new segment called the Soul Search. Pat, it's basically, I'm going to ask you a question, and if you want to answer it, great. My question is to you: what does Everett baseball mean to you personally?
It means everything. I've been part of the AquaSox for 28 seasons, and we work every year to provide a great fan experience and a safe, clean, and positive environment. Season is a good story. I'm looking forward to seeing it unfold this year, and it was a wonderful time last year being a part of a organization and a team of talented players that won a championship. And let's see what happens this year.
If I'm going to, sorry, Abe, real quick, I'm going to expand on that. If you were to go back in time, would you still want to be a baseball announcer, or would you pick something else?
Oh, I definitely would be a baseball announcer.
Awesome.
I would not have wanted to do anything else.
Awesome. Right on.
For me, there's nothing better. It's the thing that I am the best at. I've been lucky enough to do it for a long.
Nice. Did I interrupt you, Abe? Sorry, were you going to have something?
No, I was just wondering if Pat was going to be. Pat, are you going to be there at the Alvin Davis banquet? Yeah. Cool. Okay. The three of us are going too, so good. Hopefully we get to say hi in person.
Yeah, Danny just emailed me yesterday to ask me what I want for my entree.
And what'd you choose?
I did the chicken with garlic mash.
Yeah, so did we, my wife and I.
I'm getting the salmon, I think.
That looked pretty good too.
Yeah. But I thought last year's event with Dan Wilson was spectacular. I got high hopes this year.
Yeah, and didn't Steve do a great job?
Yes, he did. Very, very quite entertaining. Yep.
And he'll be prepared, and he'll have a lot of stuff for Alvin Davis, and I'll bet him and interviewed him. They don't call him Mr. Mariner for nothing. He's fantastic.
Right on. Well, we're getting close to the end of our show, and as we always do, we end on a shout out. So we just give some positive vibes towards a person, place, or something or someone. Soulman, why don't you start us off with a shout out this week?
I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna go give a shout out to our Southwest Seahawk, Rob English. He usually does our football pad, but he's really good people. And his grandmother passed away this past week. So just our thoughts and prayers with him and his family.
Right on. And I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to all the 12s out there, all the Seahawk fans and the players and the coaches and everybody. And, much like the AquaSox organization, it's not just the people on the field, it's people like you, Pat, that, keep it going and even take it to the janitors and concessionaires. They all do a great job. And not just the AquaSox, but the Seahawks as well. So big shout out, big umbrella shout out.
Yes. Yep.
Do you have a shout out, Pat?
Well, I guess I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't remind folks that AquaSox season tickets, mini plans, and group packages are on sale now. So for those who are interested and being a part of another great season, visit aquasox.com for details.
So our shout outs to the salespeople like Scott Brownlee, right?
Yeah. For standing by.
Awesome. Well, thank you, the voice of the AquaSox, Pat Dillon, for being on our show here today. I want to thank everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody out there for listening to us. Come to a game, you'll hear his dulcet tones. And I just got to say, like, it's so funny because Pat, I was like, when I first met you, your voice and your look don't match. And I just was like, my God, all this power and all this, resonance. Not an insult. No, I'm saying, trying to be.
I think we all had those experiences where you hear somebody and then you see them and I don't look the way I sound. That's fine.
Well, you sound amazing and you look amazing. And I want to thank you for being on the show, and everybody out there. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Spotify. Like us on social media. That's Seattle Sports U on X. And as well, check us out, subscribe on Facebook. And on behalf of the voice, Pat Dillon, myself, Abraham DeWeese, the Soulman, Brian Solak, and our producer, Matt, that damn dirty duck page. We'll see you guys next time.
Go Frogs.